Hi, I'm Kimile. Hey, welcome back. This is Heal with Kimile podcast. Today we're going to talk about if you've stayed too long in a narcissistic relationship, what are the symptoms and how do you get out and what do you do? I've got a really beautiful lady I'm working with right now, and oh boy, has there been some crazy things happening. This is interesting to kind of just track who she's turned into inside of this relationship. We're going to call her Joan. It's not a real name, but we're going to say Joan for this conversation. Joan has been dating this man. He's a doctor, and she's a very accomplished businesswoman. She's got multiple businesses, restaurants, things like this. Super smart lady, and has everything figured out except for relationships. Well, she's been dating this man for 6.5 years now. They are still dating. They got engaged, but she paid for her ring, not him, which is a red flag, big time red flag, girls. Don't pay for your own wedding ring. Don't pay for your engagement ring. No. He needs to sacrifice something. He's got to, that's what this is kind of about, is showing you he really wants you by buying you something. And it's usually very expensive. But in this relationship, she's finding herself having kind of panic attacks now. Like her nervous system is going through some trauma because I feel like she's been gaslit so much, and gaslighting looks like this. Hypothetical, he misses her birthday. He doesn't show up to a big event for her. Maybe it's a grand opening of a new restaurant or something. And then when she says, how come you weren't there? I was looking for you. Where are you? He says to her, oh my gosh, you're so needy. Do you really need me there every time? He makes her wrong, or he rejects her bid. Like she's bidding for him to be connected to her. You're my man. I want you there. Of course I would love to see you. But then, she's now too needy, or he puts her down for what she's feeling, what she's going through, instead of owning it. And, it's his bad. Like he should have been there for her. So what these kind of people that are narcissistic do is they just make that normal. Well, of course I'm not going to be there. Well, that's just normal. And then if she's got a problem with it, it's all on her to handle it. She's going to have to be the one saying, well, that's not okay. That's not normal. You should be at big events in my life if you're going to be my husband. I'm at big events in your life, But again, now you're making a big deal out of it. Why you got to ruin my day? This is the kind of stuff she's getting. And I'm looking at her, and we're 6.5 years in. This is what this is. And this has been going on for a long time. I asked her when the first time he dumped her was, because women that get trained or kind of groomed and conditioned this way, they've gone through lots and lots of rejection. And so at some point, they're just not even, taking it personal anymore. In fact, he'll dump her and break up with her, and she'll say to him, are you sure you really want to do this? Instead of being hurt anymore and just, feeling sucker punched, she's just like, are you sure you want to do this? Because he'll break up with her and then come back. And I almost think he's testing her to see if she figured him out yet. Because I look at this guy and all I can see is glaring obvious. This guy's full of secrets. He is walking around just hiding his real identity. She doesn't even know him. He'll stay at her house half the week, and then he's got his place, and then he needs days off. Like, you cannot call me, do not text me. I need my solitude. So she can't even bother him for 2 to 3 days of the week because he's just so overwhelmed with his work and everything. He just needs to have alone time. Okay, there's more. There's just more. He's all about his image and looking good, and he's got his crew and his people, and then he'll just dine at her restaurant and never pay. He walks in and, he's ordering, off the menu, just whatever they want, thousands of dollars, and she keeps covering these bills. And I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah, you both have money, but what are you doing? So there's so many things that he's just entitled to. He's just taking advantage of her. And she's turning herself into his protector and his provider, to the point of driving a car to their house in, I think it's Cabo San Lucas, but it's kind of a treacherous drive. And so she's got to cross the border and get this car over there and register it. She doesn't speak Spanish, but she's doing all of these things that really she kind of needs a man to help her. She's an itty bitty 100-pound little beautiful thing, but she's kind of putting herself in danger for him just to prove, she takes pictures of getting the car over there and this, it's a rainy day and it's muddy and sliding. And I think one of her chefs actually said, I'm going with you. I know where you're going and you can't go alone. You're a female and this isn't safe. And I mean, one of the guys that love her, he's going, I'm going to be there to protect you, because he wanted a car there. He wanted this car there. So she gets the car, she buys it herself. She takes it to Mexico, drives this treacherous drive. This took almost, 4 days. And she was so grateful that the chef came with her. She was just so thankful that he realized what it was going to be for her. But she's just so desperate to prove to this boyfriend that she's worthy, that she can be trusted with hard things. And then she'll take a picture with the registration and says she's so proud of herself. And she was proud of herself for getting that accomplished. But that was dangerous. That could have put her in harm's way. She finds herself shoveling snow. He's going to be here any minute. I've got to shovel the driveway. I've got to get a place for him to park. So I'm looking at her and I'm like, girl, again, it just doesn't seem like he's doing anything for her. He used to. I mean, how he kind of got her was the first 6 months was he'd open the doors, he'd save the parking place for her, he'd stand there and tell people to go away. And so it seemed like he was taking care of her in a way. And he asked her intently what she wanted, would look into her eyes, listen deeply. So really pretty quick got into her. It's interesting because I find with some of these relationships, the women are kind of like, not as interested. Maybe there's not that chemistry initially. She said, he's not as tall as I like men, but, there was just something about him. But initially she would have not really chased him or pursued him. He's pursued her. He got her really in the deal, so to speak, but he's the one that chased her down. So as soon as she committed, and this is the thing, when you're with someone who's narcissistic, as soon as you commit and you're all in and I love you and you're investing, okay, next. That's when they kind of quit because now they've got you. And boy, howdy, has this guy just taken advantage and advantage and advantage. This guy hasn't bought groceries in 6 years. Okay. So she's filled his fridge. She makes his food. I mean, she meal preps for him. She's the foodie girl. She's got restaurants and stuff. All that stuff's, I guess, a little easier for her. However, she's still doing all this stuff for him. And I said, what is he doing for you? Not a lot. They don't even spend a lot of time together. How's your sex life? Well, this is where it got a little interesting, right? Of course, the sex life kind of gets interesting. So the sex life is virtually, I want to say 4 to 5 times a month. Not a lot. Not that's just not a lot. And usually when you're engaged, your sex life should be pretty good. 6 years in is not, not that old. But they're really not having a lot of intimacy. She's just in a way working for this guy. Oh, and when she gets the picture of the registration and the treacherous drive and almost, could have got killed on the road, she sends a picture to him and she's happy. And he's like, thanks. 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 Doesn't really recognize he wanted a beautiful desk at his office. Her and her chef are going and picking it up and then they're delivering it to him. And he's, he wasn't even going to be at the office. She was going to go in there. She goes in there and this is this is a heavy desk. Okay. Beautiful, dark wood, gorgeous. But her and the chef, they put it on a truck. They got to put it on this rolling trailer thingy. And then they're pushing it through the doors. They're taking it to his office. He ain't even there. He's just letting her deliver his desk. And then she's organized the desk and put all the decor in it and everything, bought all these new things for his office. Oh my gosh. When I meet some of these people, and she's just the kindest, sweetest lady. She's so sweet. And she genuinely wants him to love her. When he had surgery, he had to have surgery. She's there with bells on. She's feeding him, wrapping him, holding him, getting his medication, going to the store, everything he needed. He was completely taken care of. And then as soon as he didn't need her anymore, he didn't see her for days. He's just gone. He's better. He's doing great. Oh, and he's still talking to his ex, one of his exes. He'd never been married. This guy's never been married. He's 50 whatever years old. Never been married. No children. So back to the sex, right? You were waiting for that, weren't you? I know you were. So we're back to the sex. And so here's the deal. He likes anal. And now look, I ain't judge him. Fine. That's fine. But that's kind of all he wants. And I think he also wants it in return. So then there's a few other things. And that's kind of we probably spent 3.5 hours together, just kind of, unburdening her to kind of, is this normal? Is this normal? So when we get to the sex part, and then just some other friends they've got that are gay, and he's grabbing their luggage, they're on a trip, and she's got 2 arms pulling the luggage. He's rushing over, grabbing their friend's luggage, who's gay, to pull his luggage for him, not his girlfriend's. And then there's other times when he's super, he takes care of other people he has interest in maybe. So I'm kind of getting the impression that this guy's using her like a beard, like she's the beard. She's highly successful, beautiful, credible. You're with someone like that. You walk in the room with her. People would see the power couple, beautiful couple. They look good together. But she's a very credible person. True, honest giver, just a sweetheart of a lady. And I do feel like this guy's using her for her credibility and her success. And I am watching her just deplete herself. Well, now she's getting panic attacks. Now she's starting, her nervous system is kind of going through some weird sensations for her. She's getting these fight or flight responses. He has broke up with her so many times. And his reasons are, I just don't love you like I used to. I don't love you like that anymore. And so when she hears that, when someone hears that rejection, I just don't love you like that, she takes it on personally, like it's my fault. This is my fault. So then she'll, well, what if I do this? What if I do that? And she keeps herself perfectly fit. She's in perfect shape. She's so conditioned now to do whatever he wants her to do. They just go shopping. They're walking in the mall. He looks, oh, I love that. I love that suit. Look at those boots. She goes and buys it for him. Then and has it delivered or wraps it up for him. It's like anything he wants. I said, you're turning into like sugar mama. You're his sugar mama. Of course, she didn't like me saying these things to her, but I said, you're like his, you're his financier. He's got money. He doesn't need her money. It's not about that, but it's about her trying to impress him. And then even shoveling the walks and the drive and the driveway, and then delivering a desk or driving to Mexico, delivering a car for him, right? Out and furnishing the place in Mexico on her dime, had everything delivered. She put it all together by herself so that when he walked in, it was the wow moment for him to just feel loved by her, so supported by her. When you love this woman, of course we would, because she is nothing but a contribution to this guy. But the concern I'm having with her is literally her nervous system is kind of alerting her, danger, danger. She's getting panic attacks. She's hypervigilant. She's on guard. It's like loud noises are making her shake. And she's just getting to where she's not functioning. She couldn't be alone. She had to have one of her kids stay home with her. She was so scared to be alone. So if you're in a relationship and you're the giver and you're the provider and you're going to prove that you're worth staying for, and you're the one fighting for the guy to stay with you, please don't leave me. I'm good. I'm this. I'll show you. It's like, you can do anything to me. Just don't leave me. If you're in that situation and that's who you are, look, your body can't lie. Your body at some point is going to tell you the truth. And the truth is going to be, I can't keep doing this, whatever you're doing. And usually it's sacrificing for love, sacrificing for the dream. And when I ask her, what are you getting out of this? Have you ever felt loved by this guy? Yeah. When she was taking care of him, when he had surgery, and he was so grateful and so thankful because he needed her. He needed her. But there's times when he's just been gushing and look, when you've got some of these people, these narcissistic kind of people, when they need you, when they love you, there is nothing better. It's a drug. It feels like a drug because you are perfect and they say everything you need to always wanted to hear. Like you literally feel like you hung the moon. So that's when he love bombs her. And that's the hook. That's the drug high. That's when she's high. And that high is what she's continuing to chase. And when I really had the aha moment with her, when the truth, I said, just give me the truth, girl. Tell me all the truth, all the embarrassing things you're doing. And anything you're doing sexually you don't want to do, because we do that to make our men happy. And these kind of guys want what they want. She can't tell them no, right? So I know she's doing things like that. So when she does things she's uncomfortable with, just to make him happy, again, it chips away at your self-esteem, because you're putting that person's needs above your own. And you start disappearing. And that's when your nervous system's like, whoa, red alert, you're going to not survive here if you don't start putting yourself first, girl. So she doesn't even know how much money she's into. I mean, it doesn't, we can't even go there. That's just like, okay, it's the taxing of her system. And it's never enough. It's a black hole. And she's barely getting any acknowledgement now for anything she's doing. So she's doing these huge acts of service and huge acts of love. And he's just, thanks. One word, just thanks. I almost died taking this car to Mexico for you. I bought it for you and everything. Thanks. It's like, she's wanting something more. I also find it interesting that she's doing masculine things. And so if my hunch is right that maybe he's gay, which who cares? Who cares if he's gay? The only reason I would care if he's gay is if he's pretending he's not, to get something out of her. And he has a lot of other women, by the way, that tend to be crazy. Like all of his exes are crazy. Have you ever heard this from a narcissist? Oh, my exes are so crazy and they just stalk me and they can't let me go because I'm so great or something. And she's seen some text messages from other women and stuff. So she knows other women have been a little crazy. And he admits to talking to his exes, probably spending time with them too. She's still there. So he gets cheating on her, all these things. But it's interesting that she just can't see the erosion over time She's starting to see it, the erosion over time of her self-worth and her self-esteem. And she's doing things like a man. When she's literally 100 pounds, I'm not kidding, she's itty bitty, and she's out there shoveling the snow like a man, and he's complaining because he's got to drive up to the, it's not walking the snow to the door. Really, guy? And then she's driving that car, delivering a desk. These are masculine things you do. So I think she may be subconsciously knowing that maybe he would want something masculine because he's not attracted to her. He's rejecting her physically, and there's nothing to reject. She's a beautiful lady. But she's taking that on, and she doesn't feel like he'll ever love her for her. Well, if he's not into women and he's into men, of course that's the truth. And just as I kind of helped her, see when she's telling me all these things, and I'm interjecting and kind of saying, well, what about this? Is this? She doesn't really know him, and he doesn't want to be known for sure. He always wants to look good. Looking good is the most important thing to him. They're at her restaurant, and his friends come in. They're broke up, but he's still eating there for free. She comes and sits down and says hi to the friends and everything. And they say, oh, we hear you guys you're engaged and you're going to set a wedding date now. She's literally faking it, pretending, oh, yeah, that's right. No, they're broke up. But she can't say that because it'll make him look bad. So she's constantly accommodating for this guy's feelings. She's babying him. She's totally babying him at the expense of herself entirely. That puts a woman or a man, if you're going through something like this, it literally puts you in a space where you're in danger because you're giving so much of yourself away that when this finally ends, because there's no way this is sustainable, okay? When this finally ends, you're going to be so broken, you may not be able to function. You're so depressed, you're so down, and your system, you're panicking, you're just not stable. You're not mentally, emotionally, or physically stable. And again, it started out with, why are you so upset? They just like, nothing happened. What's wrong with you? You're the one upset about it. You're the one that has a problem with it. Just because I disrespected you or I betrayed you or I cheated on you will you make a big deal out of it? Is that what you're going to do now is make a big deal out of it? Like, again, so you're going to have to be the a-hole that has to make a big deal out of something because they're never going to admit they did you wrong. They're never going to admit that what they did was wrong. And this guy doesn't apologize, never has. And she's continued to just be used and used and used and used for 6.5 years. And I said, not being married by now. Again, that's a problem. And she feels like she's wasted her time. I said, kinda. And I said, but if he's gay, and we're in a religious town, it's possible he needs to get into certain spaces. He needs to be married. I don't know, or have a girlfriend, but he's never been married and he's not likely going to get married. And I would love for him just to be authentic and straight and honest about who he is, right? Just tell her, but he won't. He just won't. So she's going to have to figure out who he is and Houdini this guy. I'm going to help her get sane again. But this is where women, their nervous system breaks down, then their thyroid goes, they start getting migraines, tension, headaches, and then they're on medication for that, anti-anxiety, anti-depression, or they have a glass of wine every night or 2 or 3 or a bottle. I mean, women, if you're self-medicating because you're in a relationship with somebody, and if you're a guy and you're doing the same thing, you're in a toxic, abusive relationship. And I'm going to call you an addict. You're an addict. You're a drug addict on that love bomb that when he or she finally comes back around, like with Joan, when he just loves her and she's just everything and thanks for taking care of me. I could never find anybody better. And he just snuggles her and holds her for hours and, just adores her and lets her snuggle him. When they have that loving moment, and who doesn't love that, right? That's great. But now she can't get anything. She can't even get a text back. Again, he ghosts her. And then when he wants something, he just goes and uses her restaurant. So the only time she sees him is when he's eating for free at the restaurant. So this is literally, I said, you're a junkie and you're going to need help. You're going to go into rehab, relationship rehab, sugar, because she's literally jonesing for some shred, a drop of some sort of appreciation and love from this guy. Her friends brought her to me because she's so down. And again, she's got everything going for her in the world, except for she's picked this guy who literally is destroying her. He's killing her slowly. And she's never been this outside of herself or just, she's foreign to herself. She doesn't have the confidence. She doesn't feel good about herself because she's been so eroded over years of he dumps her and it's her fault. I don't love you like I used to, that kind of stuff. And so she tries to become somebody he's going to love by doing all these things. And here's the sad reality. She's invested all this time. So she thinks stopping the investment, I'm going to lose all that. Girl, you're on your own anyway. You're losing it anyway. But just stopping that and then facing the girl in the mirror that she's been a fool. And this is not love. This isn't love. This is a toxic relationship. And that's how it looks. If you're in one, you better come see me or call me or something. I can help unravel it for you. It'll take time. It's going to hurt. You're going to have to face the person in the mirror and realize that you now have got to become your own best friend. You've got to get the help you need. You've got to have a support system. You need friends that can call you on your crap and prevent you from spending time with, like you need to restrain yourself, a restraining order on yourself. You don't let that person back in your life. You need to end it. And if you don't, you're going to be in big trouble. And if you got kids, they're watching you. Do not show them this dysfunctional way. Okay. If you are going through this, give me a call. Get a hold of me on my website, healwithkimile.com, HEAL with KIMILE.com. Thank you for listening. Bye now.